This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We are live in Abuja. I am Olajide Bello. First, the headlines. Nigeria and South Africa set 2025 timeline to begin implementation of bilateral and trade relations.
Process will change the negative narrative of seeing Africa as a continent mad.
Senate approves medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper 2025 to 2027. House of Representatives urges federal government to, within 72 hours, unfreeze accounts of National Social Investment Programs Agency. Zuma International Film Festival kickstarts as Nigeria aims at digital technology to boost creative economy.
To ensure that we give the digital tools that are necessary for us to have the kind of economic expansion, cultural expansion.
Nigeria and South Africa have agreed on a 2025 timeline to begin the implementation of the early warning agreement that will strengthen bilateral and trade relations between the two countries. This was the highlight of the 11th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Bi-National Commission BNC co-chaired by President Bola Tinubu and host President Cyril Ramaphosa in Cape Town. State House correspondent Musbaud and Wahab reports.
I'm okay.
Nigeria-South African relations are brotherhood nurtured into an organized venture for mutual benefits. President Bola Tinubu is here for the Bi-National Commission's 11th session, but first under his administration. It is the 25th year since its inception, and tens of agreements have so far been reached on the stable of a commission.
Let us not count on successes by number of MOUs and agreements signed. They will be mere papers until we implement them in spirit and in letter. The job of our senior officials will only achieve the desired goal if we did very well in implementation.
In demanding for more results, President Tinubu wants both countries to leverage on their youthful population while also leading in the actualization of the African Continental Free Trade Agreements. Both leaders believe the Commission must be strengthened.
Our success will change the negative narrative of seeing Africa as a continent marred by poverty, conflict, without leaders to offer the kind of transformation, reform the continent deserves.
Together we must work to position our continent as the continent of the future and to realize the vision that was crafted by our forebears, that of a free, independent, stable, and peaceful Africa. We seek to expand cooperation in oil and gas, aviation, telecommunications, and ICT sector, digital economy, manufacturing, and financial services, retail and hospitality, amongst others.
The leaders are now demonstrating a renewed vigor by giving a timeline to the implementation of the early warning agreement.
The two leaders underscored the need to urgently finalize the MOU on the early warning mechanisms. To this end, it was agreed that the MOU will be signed not later than March 2025. In this regard, they welcome the significant investments of South African companies in Nigeria. and encourage corresponding Nigerian investments in the South African economy.
Thank you so much.
And the Commission is also adding its voice to the calls for ceasefire on the Gaza Strip, as well as peaceful resolution to wars in parts of Africa. From Cape Town, Musbah Nanwahab, NTA News.
And still from Cape Town, where President Cyril Ramaphosa commended President Bola Tinubu's leadership in addressing the political issues in the West African sub-region. Speaking from his experience of the similar bloc in the southern part of the continent, President Ramaphosa says President Tinubu's efforts in compliance with the international demand to lead effort that is fair and inclusive in the interest of the people.
We commend your work as chair of ECOWAS to promote dialogue, mediation and conflict resolution in the pursuit of peace. We applaud Nigeria's unwavering support to regional and continental unity. Our regional body, the Southern African Development Community, SADC, has been working to address challenges in our own neighborhood. We are seized with situations in the eastern DRC and the post-elections developments in Mozambique. There is agreement that these challenges will be resolved through peaceful means. We are witnessing progress in the consolidation of democracy on our continent.
Tinubu, recounting his sacrifice during the popular demand for democratic governance in Nigeria, says he remains committed to the cause of democracy on the continent.
For me, I've been caught and intimidated and detained for the principle of what I believe in. But today, I carry the touch of that freedom, value, strong determination, and commitment to principle of justice, of fairness. And I'm grateful I'm here as the president of my country.
Members of the National Council on Privatization will strive towards maximizing value from the nation's core national assets for the benefits of Nigerians. Vice President Kashim Shettima gave the charge during the fourth meeting of the National Council on Privatization at the Presidential Villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
This is the fourth National Council on Privatization meeting under the Tinubu presidency, and Vice President Kashim Shettima, who is chairing the council, reminded members of the nation's core national assets, which are critical to the economic agenda of the Tinubu administration. He charged members of the council to play active role in unlocking national prosperity, ranging from very important post-privatization matters to critical sector reform issues towards the attainment of national aspirations.
On this note, I encourage members of the Council to contribute strongly to our discussions. Posterity will judge us kindly if we make efforts to be fair to the Nigerian people. Our people need our leadership. This council is a very, very important council.
The council also received presentation from the Bureau of Public Enterprises, which sought the approval of the council for the proposed 2025 work plan, prioritizing revenue-generating projects and strengthening of concession management capacity, among others. Council also received update on the restructured Kano, Kaduna, Benin, and Ibadan electricity distribution companies, as well as the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission orders on the transfer of regulatory oversight of electricity markets in Edo, Enugu, Ekiti, Imo, Kogi, Oyo, and Ondo states. Other reports at the meeting include operations at the Zungeru Hydro Power Plant, Kayinji and Jeba Hydroelectric Power Plants, and the proposal to relocate 4 turbines from Afam and Ugeli power plants, all in a bid to increase power supply to the national grid. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
And to the National Assembly, the Senate has approved the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy Paper 2025 to 2027 as submitted by the federal government for implementation. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the approved projections include 47.9 trillion naira proposed budget for 2025, out of which 16.4 trillion naira is for capital projects, while 14.2 trillion naira goes to recurrent expenditure.
Projections on oil benchmark, daily production quota, gross domestic product and inflation were also approved.
The framework emphasizes economic stability, sustainable growth, and prudent resource management.
The GDP growth rate is expected to be at 44.4% in 2025, which is going to be driven by investments in infrastructure and agriculture. This is a welcome, and telecommunications.
Following observations by some legislators on proposed exchange rates put at 1,400 naira to the dollar, in which they noted prevailing market rate of 1,700 naira, Senate therefore approves that all excess be channeled for debt servicing and development of infrastructure.
The projected exchange rate be approved, subject, however, to review in early 2005, according to monetary and fiscal policies, with a proviso that any overflow be used to service the existing debts in the country.
I want to believe that whatever monies we are going to take by way of additional debt should be monies that we use, debts that we use for revenue-generating enterprises.
Senate also resolved to investigate reports from the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission and the Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, alleging withholding and non-remittance of funds by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited in trillions of naira, as recommended by the Senate Committee on Finance. Meanwhile, Senate has confirmed the appointment of Lieutenant General Olatubosun Oluede
as the Chief of Army Staff.
Plenary featured adoption of Conference Committee report on bills to establish South-South Development Commission, that of North Central Development Commission, as well as anti-doping bill. In another development, Senate and the National Universities Commission are seeking the establishment of more universities at a public hearing on bill to establish Federal University Okigwe in Imo State.
This university, when established, will drive regional and national development by creating a pipeline of special skilled professionals.
It's a vital step towards addressing the increasing demand for quality higher education in Nigeria.
So 2 million kids every year apply to go to university. The entire system put together can only accommodate between 500 and 700,000.
The move is to ensure access for the more than 1 million applicants left out yearly in admission process. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And that's the much we can take on the news at 10. And just before we go, let's quickly take a break.